Hello YouTube, how are you? My screen is looking a little bit blurry. I need a little cloth to actually, I guess. Happy Sunday. Sunday is one of my favorite days. Sunday is my favorite day of the week. I call Sunday Raw Day because that is the day of our Father. And it also happens to be usually a day that's very like relaxing for me at the same time. So happy Sunday. I try to take things slow on Sundays. I try not to go too crazy. But anyway, today I got another verse, another chapter that I have read before. It is Timothy chapter 4. I don't know if this is just blurry or if it almost looks like a little filter. I don't know, I made it worse. Give me a second. That's better. Okay, so Timothy chapter 4, and I'm gonna read it. I actually read this before in the middle of my little, what feels like I had a dream in the last 2 weeks. I read it before, but I'm gonna read it again. It goes, I charge thee therefore before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned into fables. But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. Make full proof of thy ministry. For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought, chapter 7, verse 7. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing. Do thy diligence to come shortly upon me. For Damas have forsaken me, having loved this present world, and is departed into Thessalonica. Crescens to Galatia, and Titus unto Dalmatia. Only Luke is with me. Take Mark, and bring him with thee, for he is profitable to me for the ministry. And Tychicus have I sent to Ephesus. The cloak that I left at Troas with Carpus, when thou comest, bring with thee, and the books, but especially the parchments. Alexander the coppersmith did much evil. The Lord reward him according to his works. For whom be thou ware also, for he have greatly withstood our words. At my first answer, no man stood with me, but all men forsook me. I pray God that it may not be laid to their charge. Notwithstanding, the Lord stood with me and strengthened me, that by me the preaching might be fully known, and that all the Gentiles might hear. And I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. And the Lord shall deliver me from every evil work, and will preserve me unto his heavenly kingdom. to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen. And then the last part says, salute Prisca and Aquila and the household of Onesiphorus, Eratus abode at Corinth, but Trophimus have I left at Miletum sick. Do thy diligence to come before winter. Ubulus greeteth thee, and Pudens, and Linus, and Claudia, and all the brethren. The Lord Jesus Christ be thy spirit. Grace be with you. Amen. And my three favorite verses from here is verse 7, where it says, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith, because God have I had to fight. 14 says, Alexander the coppersmith did me much evil. The Lord reward him according to his works. Number 17 says, notwithstanding the Lord stood with me and strengthened me, that by me the preaching might be fully known, and that all the Gentiles might hear. And I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. And the Lord shall deliver me from every evil work, and will preserve me unto his heavenly kingdom, to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen. And this just sounds like a letter, like a farewell letter that's being written. This is not in the words of Jesus, because it's not in red, but it's definitely a farewell letter. And this is the second time I've gotten this one. And sometimes when I get verses like the same chapter a second time, I don't read it, but this time I felt like I should. So to anyone watching this, I'm gonna start off with some cheat codes. Please run and get a pen if you need one. But you can always rewatch the video as well, and get you a pen to go ahead and write this stuff down, because this is not just interesting, this is important to note. So for your spiritual journey, I always come with cheat codes. If you are meditating and praying and you have a rigorous work schedule, or you have things going on and you fall asleep, the solution to that is sage. You put your sage in whatever it is that you burn, and you want to put it in your face, because it's being sent directly to you. It's an attack on your ability to pray and your ability to meditate. So you need sage all around you. Now, sage will work for energy that is being projected to you. Sage is not going to work when you are generally tired, like as a normal human being, and you need to sleep. When you need to sleep, we need to try to get good sleep. It's very difficult in this thing, because if you try to go to bed early, they're going to wake you up early, have you up all night, 3-4 hours, tossing and turning. You're not going to have enough time to sleep in the morning, and they're going to spiritually attack you. So you got to go to sleep at an hour that's late enough so you can get about 5 to 6 hours of sleep. If you try to get more than that, they're going to have you up all night. You're going to notice the house is very hot. You're tossing and turning. It's always going to be some nonsense. So don't try to go to bed early, but do try to get some sleep. So sage, that is so that you can enjoy your meditations. That is your meditations, your prayers, whatever it is. Now you're going to say to me, how can I breathe while sage is in my face? Mouth. Breathe through your mouth. Longer exhale, as always. For strength, when your energy is low from spell work, you can put a teaspoon of baking soda in your tea and mix it in. The same tea I gave, fenugreek. You drink that with a teaspoon of baking soda. It will instantly bring your energy levels back up. Between the fenugreek and the baking soda, it will take away the cold feeling that you have, the cold from your bones, the sick feeling, as well as raise your energy levels immediately to get you to the point where you can continue what it is that you have to do, because you have work to do. You cannot get lazy. Part of not feeling like doing anything is a destiny swap. That is what they do. They make you feel lazy, lethargic. you don't want to do anything, you don't have interest in the passion, the thing that you're supposed to do, that is spell work. So you got to always look for solutions. No excuses, because once they have an excuse as to how they don't want you to do work, that's how they're going to get you to not work every day. So no excuses, do what it is that you're supposed to do. Anything to do with your skin or your body. I've talked about spiritual baths. I've gone over spiritual baths over and over. Get your own formulations for your spiritual baths. I do not like to give, because there's too many spiritual baths for different things. You have to go on your journey. It is a journey. You're gonna get ingredients that spirit moves you to get, and your situation is going to be different from other situations, male to female, what the affliction is, what it is that you want to deal with. Go get your own bath ingredients. Yes, there's going to be herbs. Yes, there's going to be salt. Yes, there's going to be a cleansing agent. Yes, there's going to be, you want to restore yourself after. There's all kinds of things that are going to happen as far as your spiritual bath. Trust God to guide you through getting whatever these things are. You can lotion your skin with natural oils. Vitamin E, I use coconut oil myself. I love coconut oil. Now, anytime you say something, somebody's gonna try to curse it. So you're gonna put some kind of materials in everything that you use to combat that cursing, to combat the kind of negativity that they do to make things rot or make things stink or make things not work. Now, sometimes just because it rots or it stinks doesn't mean it's not gonna work. It just means that it's gonna stink and you're gonna be less likely to want to use it. I use it anyway because for me it's important regardless. It's important to do it regardless, so I do it regardless. The last thing is Florida water, something called Florida water. So you can go ahead and put Florida water on your skin. Sometimes people will spiritually touch you. They'll put hands on you. They'll try to graze you. You can put Florida water in whatever your regular lotion is. Now, if you're under spiritual attack, I recommend you make your lotion. So your base of your lotion could just be lotion and then coconut oil. And then you add different ingredients as you see fit that are spiritual ingredients. It could be anything from something called reversal oils. You can put in anything with menthol in it. You can put in your Florida water. You can put in so like this. You have to do your own formulations because these people are also under spiritual persecution and they're looking to find solutions to try to shield them from, you know, the ass whipping the universe is putting on them right now, that they deserve, that they're gonna feel every ounce of. So, you know, the key ingredient, let me just tell you about cleansings a little bit, because I gotta touch on this. The key ingredient, there's two very important things to worry about or to think about when you're thinking about cleansings, blocking work. Number one, are you in the right? Meaning, is karma against you? Is this karma? If it is karma, you're gonna get your ass tossed up no matter what you do. Because karma will assist, even if it's somebody doing it to you, karma will assist in that journey. So either way, it doesn't matter what kind of sage they burn, it doesn't matter what they do, what kind of protection work, they're still gonna face it. Number two, which ties into number one, is it your energy? Are you being returned your own malicious energy? And if the answer is yes, no cleaning or anything is going to work, because this is being assisted. So I'm talking to people here who are not malicious people. If you're a person who's seeking revenge on people for no reason, nobody ever did anything to you, you're jealous, or you took money to do a job, this is not the channel for you. I'm talking about people who follow direction from spirit guides. I can say whatever I want to say and your spirit guide's going to say, no, you must adhere to your spirit guides first. With permission of your spirit guides, you take any kind of action with your spirit guides, or they take action on your behalf, whatever way it's going to go. This is a different situation. It means the road is clear. It means the path is open for such a thing to occur. I'm only talking about people that have spiritual permission. Usually, in order to get spiritual permission, you've suffered a lot at people's hands. And I'm not talking about a little bit, I'm not talking about like a little bit of abuse. Spirit usually they they let it go so far. I'm telling you that you are weak with suffering. So people can, in my situation, I'm sensing that people are using a lot of protection work. That's not going to save nobody from nothing. They could drink the Florida water, they could bathe in the Florida water, they could put the protection everywhere they want to put it. It don't matter. That's not gonna. So take that with a grain of salt, because people like to come here, take the remedies, and think they're gonna use the remedies and like rinse and repeat. No, no, we're not in Kansas anymore. That's not gonna happen. So y'all can take your ass right the hell off of my life. Florida water, go find Florida water. You need to, in your city, if you're new to spirituality, because my lives, my messages are for people who are new to spirituality. It's not for people who already are here and they think they know everything. They call themselves witches and warlocks. It's not for you. This is for people who are just starting out and you don't know where to turn. So I'm introducing things to you that are very common in the spiritual community. Everybody knows about in the spiritual community, but it's new to you. And I'm doing so with you so that you feel comfortable with the concept of it. Because when you're new to this, you'll be so nervous for these things. These are simple tools of protection. When it gets too bad, these are ways of blocking attacks. So you need to Google something called a Botanica in your city. This is a place where they're gonna sell. They're gonna specialize in spiritual tools. Botanica, Botanica, Botanica. Florida water is spelled exactly like that. Florida water. Exactly like that. I'm giving you guys simple things because sometimes I go to some channels, some pages, and when I tell you they start giving complicated ingredients, I'm like, where am I gonna get porcupine quills? What kind of place is this that I could walk in and go get like elephant toenails or whatever it is that they're gonna ask? These are simple, simple, simple things. Anybody can get simple materials that are not gonna break the bank either, that are gonna be very effective. So when you get to the Botanica, that's where you're gonna get Florida water. Now, you can keep Florida water in your car, keep it at your home. You could put a little bit on your hands because people will come and curse your hands. So before you do business, before you go certain places, after you shake hands, all these kind of things, when you get a bad feeling, rub it all over yourself, your face. You could put a little bit in your hair, wherever. It's just, it adds a little bit of protection over your body and a little bit of cleansing. And last tip for today, which is something that is like well known, but these are things that, because of my spiritual journey, I know that I was not very open to a lot of things right away, simply because it takes someone to give you a little bit of a push, a little bit of a nudge, somebody to say it's okay. It's not gonna hurt you. You're not gonna invite like devils into your house. None of this is gonna happen, but it is useful. And this is not stuff for seasoned witches or anything like, listen, trust me, the seasoned witch stuff, you won't even know. This is just basic stuff. Is candles. Candles. So, first things first, white candles cleanse your space. It's for cleaning the space, clearing energy out. Black candle is for protection, and you need the black candle while people are doing a lot of work on you. I like to get a Santa Muerte candle because obviously, I don't know what they call her in English or what they call this in English, but she is like my higher self, my saint, if you will. Saint is not a good word. Higher self, if you want to say it like that. So that's why I like it. Personally, I but you don't have to. You can get like a plain black candle, but you keep the black candle burning. And then a red candle is to reverse work. So people are constantly sending in. I did a video where I talked about multiple different styles of spell work. There are so many different kinds of ways that people can come at you. And so you would be sitting there night and day trying to deflect conflict and send things back and do this. You just light the candle, let the candle burn and do its job. Based on the way the candle burns, you can tell how much stuff is coming at you. Like, you have a candle that's supposed to last you 7 days and it's burnt out. In 3 days, the candle's overworking. If the candle burns black, if the candle doesn't burn clean, there's so many things that can happen that you have to really, I mean, go to, like I said, go to a botanica, ask questions, explore, experiment, try new things, try cleanses, clean your floors. You don't need special cleanses from there. Honestly, like, I make my own. I like what I make even more. Use floor, use salt on your floor, use lemons on your floor, use herbs in it, use coconut water, different things that will clean out the space and just give a fresh air. Now, part of why we always want to clean out our house, a nice good deep cleaning after a cycle, is because we want to invite fresh energy to come in. Because when you're under spiritual attack and it's dirty, it's almost like dirty energy starts clinging to your house, clinging to your space, and you want to cleanse it out. You want to keep your space clean. When it comes to your candles, if you're at work, you're not home very often, you want to get you like maybe a silver bowl, something that is not going to be, so not glass, not plastic, something that's not going to be susceptible to breaking or burning, and put some water in it and put the candle in it. Not because the candles, the 7-day candles usually come in a glass jar, but when people are trying to send attacks to the candle, to the altar, because they know the altar is blocking their work, the candle might break, it might explode, it might burst. Because remember, this is a spiritual thing. It's not like you're just lighting any kind of candle for any kind of reason. This is spiritual work. So because of that, you want to keep everything nice and safe if you're not going to be home all day. So when it comes to dealing with candles, sometimes the candles explode, sometimes you're going to hear cracking on the candles, things of that nature. Sometimes they're going to burn in a weird, inconsistent way. That is part of burning candles. The candle is doing its job. You launch and forget, leave it alone. You can tell what you need to do based on how the candle burns. If it burns black, if it explodes, all of that. If I have a candle explode, I will put a couple more candles in its place of the same color, because that means they're gonna have to do triple, quadruple the work in order to have that happen again. You need more than one. You can dress the candle with reversal oils, herbs, things like that. This is your journey. You go out and you go figure out what you want to do, and by you doing that, everybody on the internet or attacking you doesn't know your business and what you're doing. These are very basic things right here. So I'm not getting, just know that by you taking this advice, you're not doing something that every single person, you know, on earth who's spiritual. This is like 101. Sage and all, this is 101. Crystals, all of this is 101. Everybody, not everybody does it, because there are some people who don't believe in spirituality. Like, they might know how to hex people and curse people, but they're learning how to cleanse now. They don't know, they don't have any help. They have no spirit guides. They have no help. They're on their own. Anybody in a left-hand path is on their own. So they might be learning about things now, but they don't know about these things. So, but people who are taking a proper spiritual journey that they care about and they want to learn and they want to do better, they already know about candles. It's like simple stuff. So you want to do reversal candles. Now, in saying that, if you're going to be doing reversal candles and lighting protection candles and all that, don't send people spell work. Don't go and like light candles in people's names and burn it down with it. That's sending someone spell work. Don't do that. Don't go make mixtures, and don't do that, because if people start fighting you back and sending reversals back to you and stuff, it's going to be a nightmare. Now you're in a fight, and if fights go on too long, it turns into a war. Not worth it. So Don't do anything to anyone. I'm talking to people who need to defend themselves. I'm not talking to people who want to go starting drama with random people just to defend yourself. So, red, black, and white candles are my recommendation for today. And the last candle, I guess, would be the bonus candle is if you are receiving crown attacks, so people are trying to affect your ability to pray, your ability to connect with God, hear from your spirit guides, then a purple candle would help as well because that's the color of the crown. So you're going to get you a purple candle and burn that down as well to assist with crown attacks that are being sent and assist with spirit being close to you. So burn your candles, watch the way the candles work, continue to repeat the work, and do it as long as it takes, as long as it needs to. It's not like you're doing anything yourself, right? Always with that kind of candle work, that defensive candle work, you got to add to it spiritual baths. You got to add to it your spiritual cleanses, which I've gone over so much. So anything to do with eggs, your egg cleanses, your coconut cleanses, go to these botanicas when you ask questions, and they, because remember, you're being gang stalked. These people are following you. These people are going to try to ruin what people tell you and give you bad advice. After you get the questions answered, then you balance all of those questions with research. Research multiple platforms: Google, TikTok, YouTube, anywhere people are making content, because you do not want somebody to tell you something stupid and then you go on the internet. Maybe you might see a couple pages that are surrounding your profile are saying the same thing, because again, you're being gang stalked. So they're searching things in your search bar so things can come up, so pages can come up, and then you find them naturally. It's not natural. It's not natural. So what you need to do is you need to make sure this information is consistent with everything you see on the internet. And I mean, if you got to go to the 13th page on Google, then that's how far you go. You got to make sure that it's very consistent information, so people are not telling you something stupid like, oh, black candles, you shouldn't light them because of this and that. No, you got to keep doing research. This is a journey. This is not immediate. One thing I'm going to tell you when it comes to this stuff is you're doing work with spirit by your side, with your spirit guides by your side. You're not doing it alone. So if you do find yourself in a situation where you feel like you're unsure of something, then don't do it. If your gut feels off, don't do it. If you're wondering, you can never regret things that you don't do. You will always live to regret things that you do that you shouldn't have done. Now you got to go repent, you got to go pray, you got to ask for forgiveness, on and on. So sometimes it's just better. You don't know if you should do it, you don't know if you should get it. Sometimes you might just get the material and then your spirit says to you, don't use it, and you have to pray and meditate on it first, and then you can do what it is that you have to do. I do not recommend at this stage doing any offensive work to anyone. Leave that to spirit. Spirit can handle a ton of that. It's better if spirit handles it, because spirit knows the way they want to go. They know the timing. Don't do forceful work. This is my very, very, very important tips for the day, because we are under spiritual attack. I know they were mad that I gave that the spiritual tips with the fenugreek tea and all that, because I know that they had people in the energy exhausted. They were depleting them. They were beating down on them. And you know, when I give these tips, then people are able to get some relief, get back to work. What was working on them before cannot work anymore. So as I get tips, sometimes there's things I want to tell you guys I cannot, because I'm still in the middle of my battle. But there's going to be a day that I can share things that are basic enough that people who are in a horrible situation can benefit without it working against me. Because right now, these people want to know, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? God, go pray. Anyway, let's get to the message that I had for today. Oh, and one more tip that I have. If you do not have a botanica next to you in your city or anywhere that you're at, If you do not have a Botanica wherever you're at, then my next recommendation is just buy any candle. It won't come in a glass jar. You can find like a glass jar for yourself, but just burn whatever color. It doesn't have to be from because these candles from these places I think are overpriced, like $16 and stuff. Like, you can use the 7-day ones, you could use a skinny one, you can use a regular, whatever it is. It's just the color and the intention. Next thing I'm going to say, before you light the candle, don't just light it and put it down. Say your prayer. Sit down and say your prayer. Ask God for what your intention of this candle is. A reversal candle, Lord, I'm asking for protection from people who mean me no good, people who want negative, who are sending negativity towards me. I ask that you guys work with me with this candle to block it, to send it back to where it came from, so that not only am I protected, but it weakens this attack so this attack doesn't continue. Some people will say, well, I don't want to send work back, I just want to neutralize it. Not me. You have to send it back to stop it in its tracks, or else you're going to be doing this forever. You got to send it back so people feel their own work, so it sticks to them like glue. They're stuck to their situation. They say, you know what, I might want to leave this person alone. So pray over your materials, and the other thing is sage your materials and clean them before you put them in your house. This is important because people will try to curse the materials before you have them. So you can take your own, well, what would I say? You can use holy water, you can use your Florida water, whatever it is. Clean the stuff, clean the outside of the package, clean the inside of it. Pray over it before you use it. Put some of them on the altar before you use them for a day or two. Sage, incense around them, whatever it is. I would do multiple of them, especially when you're a TI and they know that you go to these places. They will curse things first before you get there. So make sure. I went somewhere to get a coconut and all the coconuts were gone except one. You think I'm going to pick up a freaking cursed coconut to try to put on my own crown? Come on. That's how you got to think. The regular place you go for something has nothing, but all of a sudden only one. Don't use that. Don't touch that. Remember, the key to this is always better safe than sorry. It's one of those things where it's like the one person who never gets caught in a web is always the paranoid person. Oh, you're paranoid. You who is not paranoid, your ass is gonna get bust. You have to be paranoid out here. You gotta be cautious. You gotta watch everyone and everything. Spirit is your best friend. So spirits let you know. Spirit will let you know who to trust on this journey. I tell people, listen, the minute you're listening to me, and I'm not talking about somebody else telling you, but the minute you're listening to me and your gut says, no, you've gone too far, no more, that's the time for you to just hop off the channel. Don't listen to any, whatever it is, because you have to know for yourself. You have to go through this journey with your guides. Your guides might feel it's not time for that. Your guides might say, you shouldn't be cleansing right now. We want you to feel this, or we want you to go through this. When I went through my journey, I had to feel things. I had to understand things. I had to experience things. And I think when you're initiated by the universe, they want you to understand what is going on. And the quote that comes to mind always is, with great power comes great responsibility. So you can feel what this feels like before you go out there on a tirade and go do something to someone not knowing. I was watching something today and it was talking about, oh, we go into the woods and we do an initiation, and I'm like, a 1-day initiation is enough to start giving sacred knowledge to people? No. Initiations are long. A true initiation is something where it's like, listen, if you're gonna join a coven, the whole coven has to attack you for 3 years straight before you can talk about you're initiated. Otherwise, people should not just be able to enter things just because they have a spiritual gift or talent. That is not the way that it's supposed to go. Just because you have some type of gift should not be enough for you to say to yourself, I'm ready to have spiritual knowledge. There are immature people, traumatized people, people who have no healing whatsoever, people who hate humanity, they hate themselves, they hate everything moving, who just start acquiring just enough knowledge to hurt people, have no understanding or appreciation of spirituality, and they're out here abusing people. This is not the way that it's supposed to work. In order for you to enter into spirituality, you should at least be passing through a certain amount of due diligence. It's not about just having the gifts, it's not about having the spirit guides, it's about understanding what other people go through as a result of your hand. So you are sparing, you are more long suffering with people, you are a person who's going to warn people, and you're also a person who's going to turn a blind eye. It's not to say sometimes you're not going to smack a person spiritually, but you don't take it too far. You don't take it to the point where it's like you're going overboard. When someone gets a point, they get a point, and then you move on. There are some people that it's not even worth it at all. You leave things to spirit. So you have to learn what it feels like and ask yourself, do I want to put somebody else through that? And not just that, if the universe goes ahead and makes a decision that it's going to turn on me, can I handle this? Can I handle going through this nightmare? The answer for all of us is going to be no. We don't want to go through any of this stuff. So because of that, you got to learn. I don't recommend, when you're very new to spirituality, to be using offensive work. I think for offensive things, you got to leave it to God as much as humanly possible. So I want to talk about, the topic that I want to talk about today is do not gang stalk with passion. I understand that there are people who cannot help but to have to gang stalk other people. And the reason for that is obvious. You have been bullied. They've come into your life very aggressively. They've taken over. These are criminals. These are spiritual criminals. I would never even say assassins, but you know what? Yeah, they are. Because they do unalive people all the time. So they're spiritual assassins in the dark. They have no limits. They're very hateful. They have no manners, no behavior, no respect. They're horrible, 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 heartless people. So you're in a situation, you're in a nightmare. If you don't show up, they're gonna beat on you spiritually. They're gonna gang up on you. There's a whole bunch of them. They're all gonna show up at once. They're gonna send so much spell work into your house. The house is gonna be upside down. You're never gonna have resources in there. Money's not gonna, there's never enough money. You're losing jobs, medical issues. I mean, they'll curse you. They'll attach things to you. They will put a whole onslaught of misery into your life in a very short space of time. So I understand that you got to show up. You got to do the gang stalking. Fine. I've had people follow me from the very first day, from the beginning, and these people still showed kindness. Not fear, because this was in the beginning. They didn't fear me. They showed kindness. How do you gang stalk with kindness? So people had to come into my store. They came in quietly, they purchased, they left. They came in, they smiled, they say good night, good morning, good afternoon, they left. Now, there was a period where people were simply, so in the beginning of your destiny swap, people are coming in and they're putting money on your books, and it's dirty money, and they're trying to make you dependent on them financially, so that when they pull all the money and the support away, they can now say, okay, you're either going to join us or you're not going to eat. I'm talking about gang stalking. So a bunch of people are coming in and they're making you know that you're being watched. They're holding up the phone, taking pictures. They're doing this, they're doing that. You're being gang stalked. There's a difference between where they were coming in. I'm talking gang stalking has begun. The anxiety attacks, the spiritual attacks, the health attack, all of it has begun. There are still people who came in with compassion. So they come in, they say good evening, good night. They look at you with compassion in their face. They say their line, because they tell them what to say. So let's say their line is, I don't know, you're a monkey. I don't know, let's just say that's the line they repeat. They might say something like, "You're a monkey," and then immediately be like, "I'm so sorry," and run out. Something like that. Where now it might even confuse you, like you're like, okay, are they trying to insult me, or what is that? This is why very early on, I don't, I know they tell people that I take aggressive action towards them, and I don't, because I've understood. Now, being a part of gang stalking in general will, when that cycle is closing, when God is closing that cycle, it will bring karma, but it's not necessarily because someone's doing it to you. Because I understand. I understand that you don't know who's who. Some people don't have a choice. Some people wouldn't do it. Some people would avoid it altogether. And for the people that avoided it altogether, they would bring somebody outside to watch you do it. They would bring somebody to make sure you show up. This is a regular issue that people don't want to do it. Now, why do people not want to do it? Because they went through it themselves. They have compassion. They don't want to do it. Not every gang stalker is a bad person. Some people are doing what they're supposed to. So you will see somebody in here gang stalking you, and you'll look out the window and someone's just standing there not breaking eye contact, watching them the entire time. They gotta do what they gotta do. They gotta try something, because they are going through the same thing that you're going through. It's a system of oppression. I will still say to you, when you're forced to gang stalk, do not gang stalk with passion. There are some fools that come in as if it's their gang stalking ring, they're getting paid, they're making the money, and they come in with such passion towards other people, like they love it so much. Do not gang stalk other human beings with passion. Have compassion, because the person that you're gang stalking is going, you will be there. Not could be, you will be there at one point. Whatever story they told you, whatever bullshit they told you, excuse my language, about that person, whatever lies, once you approach that person and you see, I'm not seeing what they told me about this person, then you're gonna start second guessing, like, they told me one story, but this is not true. And then you're gonna find yourself saying, should I be doing this? And you're gonna pull back, and that's when your gang stalking is gonna start. They're gonna gang stalk you to get back in. You took the first bribe to hurt people, to give false messages, to pray against someone, to whatever it was. You took the first bribe, it didn't work. Now the person sees you for who you are. Now you gotta run back in, and now you're scared, you're in a fright, because people start showing up all over and horrible things start happening to you. So you must understand, you are next. You are next. These people don't care about anyone. Because of that, I say to you, do not gang stalk people with passion. Have compassion. Have compassion, no matter who it is. Do not go out there. You're seeing elderly people. You're seeing people that are, I call it middle, I think 50 is middle age, but a little bit older. They're not elderly or anything. Why would you? Don't be respectful. I don't care whatever kind of energy people try to put you in. Think for yourself. Think for yourself. Do not gang stalk mothers with passion. We have no respect for mothers. Do not gang stalk people who are with their children with passion. You might have to show up and do something. People have strollers, people have little kids. Do not persecute people like that. There's absolutely no one that deserves it, to tell you the truth. But there's some people that you should have just a little bit more compassion. Do not gang stalk people with passion. Show some kindness. Let me tell you something. Everybody that showed me some compassion, you were showing God some compassion without you knowing. There's a quote in the Bible. It says, now I'm going to misquote this because I haven't even read this for myself. I've just heard it over and over. It's something about when you treat, be careful how you treat people, or if you meet poor people or whatever, because you never know. You might be meeting an angel and you're not sure. And that is the truth. You will meet the most unlikeliest person. And this person is carrying a very benevolent energy with them, an energy that has the capability of blessing your life, even behind their back, because you showed compassion. Their spirit guides, even if their spirit guides are human spirit guides, like people, dead, passed over relatives that used to be human, they still have the ability to bless your life in some way, give you a little bit of a boost, a push in your life, because they see that their child right now is going through an issue, but you came with kindness when you didn't have to, when it was your life on the line. They appreciate that. There are people who came to me, they didn't want to. They didn't want to make the call. They don't want to come. They didn't want to do it. God saw that. God saw that compassion. God will return that back to you a millionfold, I promise you. You may not see it now. You don't know what you're being blocked from. That's another way of spirit giving compassion. You don't know what spirit is blocking you from. Like, let me tell you something. There are times that I went certain places, and the person was just doing their job. They showed some compassion. And I looked at them and I said, put that crystal on the other hand, or do this or do that. Or they said something and I said, just do this and do that. And then the next time I see them months later, they said, do you know what happened? My this blew up, or I got sick, or this happened, or whatever. And then I said, or they said the crystal broke, or something exploded. And I said, it did its job. You got saved from something because you showed compassion. This is how you walk the world. No matter what people want to tell you, that people will say you're stupid when you use your heart. When you show people kindness, when you're giving, people say that you're stupid. That is not stupidity. That is spiritual awareness. That is you collecting blessings, collecting good karma. So you meet someone and you don't know who they serve, who they walk with, and they go home. And little do you know, they said a little prayer for you. But they have a direct connection. They have favor with the spirit. And the spirit says, you know what, we're going to turn around. We're going to make sure this person is okay. We're going to make sure this person is okay. And the more compassion and kindness you showed when you were on the line is usually sometimes the way people go pray for you with even more compassion, because they know that you are probably going to suffer a little bit for this decision. They want to take care of you too. This is how it works. It doesn't mean you're going to know what's going on. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you walk around this earth with compassion for others. You walk around collecting goodness, collecting good karma, collecting God's favor in small ways, and making yourself a part of the network that God can utilize in order to make life easier for the people that are serving God, the people that are in service. That God knows this person has a history of being a kind person. We'll send this person in, or we'll send them over here, and the likelihood is higher that they will get through, that we can get good to them, or we could get through to them through virtue of their heart. Even if you don't pray, but your actions are practicing the way of God. You are worshiping God, not in prayer, not through your words, but in service. Your actions are in service of God. Your actions are kind. There are people who have favor, never been to a church, don't own a Bible, don't pray, and they have God's favor just the same, because they're practicing in spirit, I guess in spirit, you can say in spirit, but they're practicing in action. There are some people who just pray only, it's nonsense, it's hot air, and they go out there and they do a lot of nonsense. There are some people who do not pray at all, and they go out there and they represent God in their actions. Because of them, somebody is leaving and somebody's saying, oh my God, God, thank you. God has utilized them as a tool. They're still an instrument for God. This is a person who is in service to God through their actions. It's just like people who are evil in actions, not in the dark altar, not in the spell work, in the actions. They worship the demons through their actions. So when people leave them, people say, oh my goodness, I need to go pray, I need to cleanse. The world is so evil, the world is such a horrible place, because through their actions, they've served demonic forces, dark forces that choose to cut people down, that choose to take away from people, that choose to hurt people. It's about so recently, with the experience I went through, one of the things was they wanted to say, well, prepare the food for the altar like this and do this like that and do that. Pomp and BS. Relationships with spirit, spirit will defend you tooth and nail. You don't even have an altar. You don't even have a candle lit. You don't even have anything that spirit values you. They will stay with you tooth and nail. At the hardest part of my journey, I did not have one candle lit. I didn't do any protection work, none of the above. And not one ailment hit me, not even a cold. Nothing hit. I promise you, all of that nonsense. God will prefer a piece of dry, stale bread that you give half of, but you give authenticity, you give your strength, you give passionate prayer. God knows that the times are not good. That piece of half of that stale bread that you yourself also have to eat will bring more blessings on that altar than somebody who has a whole like 10 beautiful steaks, beautiful meals, and spirit doesn't care about their prayers. Let me tell you something. Spirit will go to sleep in your prayers. I really mean that. They will not listen. They will listen kind of like this. They don't care. They don't care. They're not going to move. They have no intention of doing anything. They feel nothing. Your suffering will mean nothing, because in actions, you're serving demonic entities. Somebody sends you to do something that is horrible. You're serving their God, and they know that. They're sending you to serve their God and do dirty work. And so through your actions, you are assisting the work on that altar. Do not gang stalk with passion. If you are forced to do it, have compassion for people. If you are forced to do it, there's some things you shouldn't do. Don't add to their stress. Don't say certain things. Don't do to someone what you went through or what you have been going through and make it horrible. But God sees people's hearts. So they will say, how comes this person did it too and they didn't get punished? Oh, as a matter of fact, they're getting blessed. Why? Because God saw their circumstances, what they were going through, and God said, no, not this one. God will come as a shield and block everything coming towards them, take care of them. They will slip through because this wasn't their journey, this wasn't their lesson. They will slip through and they'll go about their way. And people be like, oh no, now that I know I'm gonna go and attack these people. No, they're gonna put burdens on your path, boulders in your way, so you cannot. Let me tell you, when we suffer, God coaxes us into this suffering. God makes you say things that's gonna spark an idea in an evil person's head. That's how we're gonna do it. And then they put you through something. The thing teaches you, you pass your test, and you go. If you're meant to be blocked from it, you won't even be in their line of sight. Whatever is not was not. If your part of that journey was just to meet that person once, because they faced 100 people who have abused them, and God said, let me show them that some people have compassion. You're the 101 person, and you come with compassion. They will pull you out of that situation. You will not have to deal with that again. You will not have to deal with that if you don't have to. We trust in God. They were supposed to, or they could have gang stalked me years before, and they didn't. They didn't, for multiple reasons. They will know why it didn't end up happening. But God says, when you're ready, you go through your storm. When you're ready, you go through a trial, and not a moment before. God sees and understands your particular situation. God judges by the heart. There are actions that are awful and God sees. You got to go and plead your case as well. Explain your own situation. what you're going through. There are some petitions that are going to be completely ignored. This is for God to decide. This is for God to decide. So very early on, I was like, look, as much as these people are annoying to me, I leave it to God, because God can truly make a decision as to who's who. Like, I can tell with some people, they truly do enjoy gang stalking. They enjoy that power trip. They enjoy feeling like they're better than people. They enjoy ridiculing people. They enjoy making people feel like they're smaller than. They have no empathy. Having no empathy is a clear sign of having difficulty with your heart, with loving people, with showing compassion. This is not something that we have to participate in. And if you have to, I don't want to be unrealistic and be like, people do not have to, but if you have to, you need to do it in such a way where you're not deriving enjoyment, superiority over others, punching down on people. Because when that karma comes, it will rip your insides out. Trust me, it will be unbearable, because spirit will drag it out, because you gotta feel it like your victims felt it. You gotta feel every ounce. Every single day you gotta wake up in a living nightmare, just like your victims felt it. Karma is very specific with the way that it doles out its lessons. It's not gonna put you out of your misery. You gotta sit here and tough it out. The way you treat other people means something. It means something. There are people with the ability to do things that are stronger than you in the spirit, and they don't do it. They don't do it. They don't abuse it. The way you treat people, the way we treat people, it means something. It's not about being stupid. It's not about being a do-gooder, even though there's nothing wrong with that. It's not about that. It just means something, because we all are human beings as well. You gotta always think about it. Well, what if it was me? What if it was my kids? What if it was my grandparents? Don't think that when it's your people, you know compassion, but when it was other people, you didn't know compassion. You didn't care. God treats you the way you treat other people. That's what karma is about. The way that you treat other people, other people's experience when they meet you. Your prayers will be heard, respected, answered, responded to by how you treat other people. You're thinking how I serve at the altar, how I go to church, how I appear in the community. No, no. You can put the biggest cakes, the biggest desserts, the most everything on your altar. You could be diligent as hell, and inside of here is empty, it's black. It's a matter of time. When they say no man knows the day, the hour, or the minute when the Holy Spirit will come, they're not talking about a rapture where you float into the sky. They're talking about karma. That's who she is. You don't know when she's gonna come. And the karma goes both ways. It could be good karma because you've been giving of your heart for so long, and she says, here, I'm ready to dump all of this on you all at once. Thank you. You have been an example of who we are to other people. You've made other people believe in God because of the way you behave. What do I mean by that? You don't know that the person that you helped said a prayer before they came outside. You don't know that that person doesn't believe in God, but they're in a dark place. They have no choice. And now they made a prayer. And God was so eager to answer that prayer. And God said, let's send this person to you. And because of you, now that person says, you know what? Prayer actually works. I can't believe this worked in the same day. Let me go in the spirit again. And now they're building up a practice of praying. You don't know that that person doesn't believe in goodness in humanity, but because they met you, now they believe that there are good people. You've proven that God is real because of the fact that you have treated someone with compassion. It's not always what you do, it is the way you do it. The way you do it. Yes, you were doing your job, but you asked, how are they doing? And you don't know what that feels like for people who are under heavy persecution. Because people who are, one of the things, Meghan Markle was the first person that said it, that I heard. She said, somebody asked her, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And she broke down in tears and she said, this is the first time, being 8 months pregnant, that anybody has ever asked me, how am I doing? It means a lot. Listening to somebody's story who's being gang stalked and having all the doubts in your mind that some of the crazier things that they're saying could be true, but simply sitting back and saying, okay, I understand. Compassion for other human beings. Not taking notes on what people are saying to come back and try again. That's what you people do, you idiots. That's all you do. You watch the lives, you destabilize the channel and watch the lives to take more notes, to come back and make an ass of yourself over and over while the day of judgment gets closer and closer and closer. And your situation gets worse and worse and worse. It is not just empty and black in here, it is empty and black in here and in here. No connection to anything in spirit. Because all those sacrifices, those prayers fall on deaf ears. Offerings have been being refused for so long. You're working on your own. It's been a long time. People that show compassion in these situations are people that will eventually be released from this. God is not going to see your suffering and you're not going to suffer forever. God has seen enough suffering. God has devised a way to get people out of these situations because you cannot stay here forever. You come here, you learn your lessons. You come here, you see what you have to see. You come here to grow. You come here to develop in your spiritual practice. Because if you're here, you are meant for something spiritually. You learn, you evolve, you grow, and then you're released. You will be released. If you had no empathy before, start finding it now. Because this is too much to do to another person. It doesn't even matter. You are not God to judge. This here is too much to do to a person. It is too much. Years and years and years of every single horrible thing that someone could think of to do to a person, doing to a person, frustrating their life, harassing them. It's too much. Do you think that inflicting or being a part of inflicting that kind of pain is just gonna go unnoticed spiritually? You think these people don't cry? These people don't pray? These people are not frustrated? Even if they're not praying to anyone in particular, you know, prayer comes in many forms. Crying in your bed at night, that is still even a prayer in a way. That is still, it's reaching spirit. There are people who are undeserving that cry and spirit finds a way to find them. You must understand the way you treat other people matters. And it doesn't take anything out of you. It's 1 or 2 extra steps. 1 or 2 extra steps that are, it's gonna not take anything from you. And it's gonna even make you feel better. It's gonna make you feel better about yourself. Self-esteem, a lot of it comes from how you show up in the world. Not necessarily because, well, I'm the prettiest, I'm the strongest, I'm the richest. It's not necessarily that. It's literally, I know I'm a good person. I could sleep well at night. My conscience is clear. I've done good work. I've been good. So a lot of your self-esteem and self-respect comes from being that kind of person, a kind of person with morals and dignity and good values, having good principles. This is where a lot of your self-confidence will come from. Because when you don't like yourself. I'm telling you, you can meet people that have $100 million, and when they don't like themselves, it shows. No money will fill that hole. No amount of women, no amount of whatever it is that you're thinking is gonna fill the hole when you don't respect yourself. When you wake up and you're like, I'm an awful person. And you know when you see it most? When you meet someone who's a genuinely good person, now you start comparing yourself to them. You can't help it. The saying says, a dirty cup doesn't need to be, okay, I'm gonna butcher this, but it's like a dirty cup condemns itself, basically. Like, people do not need to, if you put a clean cup next to a dirty cup, it condemns itself. The clean cup is gonna feel good regardless because it's a clean cup. But it's only when a dirty cup gets to next to a clean cup, it really analyzes itself and it says, it's like, oh my gosh, what kind of person am I? That's how it works when people come around good people. That's why good people trigger them so much. They got to turn you dirty and nasty too, so that they could be like, well, you're just like me. The way you treat people, it matters. It matters. You got to walk the earth with that in mind. It matters how you treat people. I remember literally saying to the police, I said, they are re-victimizing people by doing this to them. First gang stalking them and then making them gang stalk others, making them do it to others. And I said, this is insidious. And I know that statement touched them. I know it touched them because they're pretending they don't know what gang stalking is. I know it touched them because it's the truth. What is worse than being gang stalked? Now somebody makes you gang stalk other people. So you go home and you feel like horrible. Like, I cannot believe, because you know what you're subjecting another person to. You know the full story. This is insidious. This is horrendous. Let us do our part always to make sure that we don't turn other people into victims like we were. People that are very kind-hearted are very special to God. And people think that you're special to God when you have a whole bunch of spiritual gifts and this, that, and the third. Listen, everybody's special to God in some way, but I'm saying the kind-hearted, people who carry more of God's presence. These are people who will open up God's heart way fast with just a word. Other people might pray, and before you go, God is already there. What do you need? What do you need? How can we make you feel better? How you treat people, it matters. And kind people in particular will attract horrendous karma, because these people are special to God. They are sacred to God. They reflect God's character. So usually children, people who are just nice for no reason, it is important. And that's the people that they always think they want to gang stalk, because they always say to themselves, well, these are the people that are not going to fight back. How do you know that? How do you even know that? A lot of people are kind by choice. They might know what it's like not to have kindness. They might know what it's like to suffer, and they make a decision by choice to be kind. So how do you know that they do not have the capacity to behave like you? Everybody has the capacity to do that. If you think that God just loves particular people because you see maybe God working through that person, it's not necessarily. Not necessarily. God shows grief. You think spirits don't have emotions. You're very wrong. Spirits are made of emotions. God shows grief over people's suffering. It is extremely important that you conduct yourself with respect around God's children. Something as simple as saying something the wrong way. God's not going to say anything to you. Nothing's going to happen to you immediately. They'll just wait on you. That one thing you really want, that one thing you really need, that one time when it counts. It could take years. When it counts, then you start seeing all the energy come around you aggressively. You know what's going to happen? Your mind is going to go instantly to where that karma got triggered. Trust me, it will. You will know, oh, it's because of this. That's why this is happening. It's because I did that. Because they'll make sure you know, yeah, and now you got to suffer through this. You got to tough through it. People who are kind that go through gang stalking are extremely strong. On the contrary, that people think that you're weak, you're extremely strong. Because these people are being gang stalked and they're still kind people. These people are suffering persecution and they're still kind people. That takes strength. That's the real strength. People think strength is punching down on people. People think strength is bullying people. People think strength is taking advantage of people, being heartless and cold. The real strength is taking care of this, still having this despite the fact. Still having this despite the fact that you had every reason to get rid of it or to shut it off. These are strong people. These are people that God holds in high esteem. God has high respect for you. Remember that everybody has a handler. So the person coming to gang stalk you is being handled by somebody else, and that person's being handled by somebody else, and on and on and on and on. So there are people that are at the top that don't necessarily have handlers, and they'll be dealt with by God directly, but give a little bit of understanding. That's why I don't recommend offensive spell work. Pray about it. Let it happen in God's time. God's time will frustrate you. I'm telling you up front. Because God knows when it makes sense. Don't think because it didn't happen today or next week or in the next couple months, it's not happening. Some prayers take years to answer. So if you're being gang stalked and you want it to end, yeah, it's going to take years. It's going to take a while. It's going to take whatever amount of time God wants it to take. It doesn't mean it wasn't heard. It doesn't mean it's not happening. God's saying, give me some time. Because sometimes God's saying it's not enough to make it stop. You've suffered here. You need something in exchange for this. We need to give you a little bit of justice. It is not enough that you suffered. You need a little bit more. You need an apology. You need something that's going to help you heal. So it doesn't just stop and we leave you broken. We need to give you a little bit of healing so you understand that God is real, that spirit is real, that you have a spiritual mother and father who have compassion for you. So when you leave this place, you go on to be a beautiful person who has the capacity to still love people. You can still taste food. You can still see color around you. It is not enough just to take you out. Give us a little bit longer to make things right for you. Everybody here is being pushed in some way to continue doing things, and that's just the truth. A little bit of compassion. Maybe not understanding, because you might not always understand, but a little bit of compassion goes a long way. It is easy to be hateful. Boy, do I know this. It's not just that it's impossible to not be hateful, but they're doing it so that you are hateful. They want to make you hateful. They want to make you, first of all, hate God, block God, don't pray, feel betrayed. You got to have some ground rules going into gang stalking or being gang stalked. You got to always make ground rules for yourself. I make ground rules for myself. It is my bottom. Some of my ground rules can be simple things like in life. I don't date this type of person. I just will not. I will never blame God no matter what happens. I will never this, I will never that. So that once I'm pushed into that place, I hit a roadblock, I hit a full stop. I just will never do this. This is my bottom. I don't wait for life to give me a bottom or show me the bottom. I tell life what my bottom is going to be. I will never find myself, look at myself one day in life where I have said a negative word about God or to God. That is my full stop. That is my full stop. I don't go beyond that. We maintain our standards. This is a standard. So going through this, you got to have a standard that you will not go beyond. And you got to say to yourself, as a result of my standard, I might face a consequence. The consequence could be anything. As a result of my standards, I have faced being gang stalked. There were multiple boundaries that people wanted me to go against. That is just never going to happen. These are consequences I am willing to die over. They're worried about money wasting. No, I'm willing to die over that. There will never be service to any other God. I'm willing to die over that. I am not going to live a life of being a drug mule or of crime. I'm willing to die over that. I am not willing to compromise my integrity for any reason. I'm willing to die over that. And I'm willing to see other people die over that. If that means somebody else is the one that is going to face a consequence for me not doing it, I don't care. It is a consequence. That is how it's going to go. I will not bow to any false gods. It is what it is. Whatever happens as a result of that, that is my bottom. So I never wake up and look at myself and say, look what you've become. I will face my hardships, but my self-esteem will be intact. Self-esteem means the esteem you have of yourself, the value on your own life, the respect you have for yourself, your self-esteem, your self-value. It is not about other people, it's about you. How do you see you? And I see me as somebody who's never going to take it that far. So I'm always going to have respect for myself and my integrity. You got to look at life like that. You're not going to take it to the outer limits. You're not going to say, in order to save myself, I can wreak havoc in the life of somebody else because it's going to hurt me a bit too much to know that I've done that. It's not going to be enough of a validation to say, well, I had to do it because if I didn't do it, it would have been me. For me, it doesn't work. And you can train yourself. The same way it might be low, where you could do all this dirty stuff, you could change yourself to get it back high. Get back in a habit, change yourself. And in the process of doing that, there are going to be people that are going to say, you used to do this and you used to do that. That's fine. Now you don't do it anymore. But you can retrain yourself to get back to a place where you're like, you know what? I no longer am this person, and this is not something I align with. This is not something that I want to do. I think in my suffering, in my city, did one thing, and I think that shows people that God is real. I've seen so many parts of gang stalking, especially the spiritual part, that I could tell you there's a reason they say no way out. These people will do anything to save their own self. They don't care. They do not care. And when I say save their own self, I don't even mean money. Or sorry, I don't even mean their life. I mean money. These are hungry people, money-hungry people who have not an ounce of dignity, morals, or anything. I wouldn't call them animals because I love animals. There's something worse. Animals are beautiful. I shouldn't say worse. There's demons that don't behave this way. These people, there's something that I call walking demons. What do I mean by walking demons? Okay, so there's demons that are spirits, but there's some people, their behavior aligns so closely to demons that they're just a human demon. It's a human as a demon. It's a human demon. These people are so evil. I mean, they don't feel anything. And in the very beginning of gang stalking, this is where your confusion comes in. You're like, wait, but God, I didn't know there were people that don't feel anything when they hurt people. Because let me tell you, if you hurt people, innocent people, and you feel something, people can see that you feel some pain, at least it will still make sense. It's not that it's right, it's not that it's okay, but it still made sense. But when you can hurt someone, or you can watch people hurt someone, and you're looking at them and you're thinking, they don't feel anything, you're asking God, how can this exist? How can this be real? That is a human demon. Anybody that makes you so confused that you go back in the spirit and you ask God, how comes they didn't feel anything? How comes it didn't bother them? That is the definition for me of a human demon. Somebody who does not fit into the parameters of a human being, what a human being should feel. That to me is a human demon. In my situation, I have helped people, I think, I know, who didn't believe in God because of the suffering they were going through and know God was coming. They didn't feel God was coming, they didn't feel heard. I feel like part of my job here was to say, God heard you, God is here now, on the ground now. God is here. There's the evidence, because you got to keep asking yourself, well, why? Why that person? How comes? Because God is really real. They will, I know they're telling people, oh, like I'm demonic, I'm a witch, and I'm all of this and that. Look, God is real. Okay, God is real. God doesn't have to fit in our definition of what we think God is. We have to accept what God actually is and how God actually shows up in the world. But God is real. God hears prayers. People like me come here, we face a lot of suffering, we go through a lot of stuff. And in a way, we are guardian angels for other people, because we get the information, we give it back. We give people a means to not just end their suffering, but give a little bit of, first of all, you cannot put a price tag on hope. When you're in a hard situation and you have a little bit of hope, and as that hope continues expanding, because hope is what makes it possible in your mind that your prayer can be answered, that things can happen. God gives hope. God gives you faith. God shows you signs. All of these things are invaluable. But when God gives you an example, then God gives you a path. God gives you a little bit of a cheat code how to get some comfort. A lot of times people think you need to have all these spiritual gifts and all these weird things to, not weird things, they're a blessing, but they're a blessing that you're given for a job. They're not a blessing that you just have to feel better than other people. Is for a job and a purpose. So a lot of times we might look at other people and we might say they have more gifts than me because they have a harder job than you. They have a particular thing that they have to do for spirit. That's why they have the gifts. So when we're in our particular struggle and our circumstance, God might say, well, you don't need the gift because you're not going to be in a dangerous circumstance where you're going to need it. That person is in a dangerous circumstance when they need it, but we're going to use this person because they have these gifts. This person's going to come back and give you all the information that you need for whatever, give you a little bit of comfort, a little bit of protection, help you start your spiritual journey, give you just enough that you can feel confident to go on yours, because you might say to yourself, I don't care what anybody says about me. When people meet me in person, including the people who persecute me, they meet me in person, they're saying to themselves, whatever I heard is not matching what I see. Whatever I heard is not matching what I see. There are people who've come to me and they've seen my character. A lot of people have seen my character. So in having that kind of character, you turn around and people who would have shied away from praying or doing spiritual work or lighting a candle are like, well, if this person's a good person and they're surviving that hardship, maybe it's okay for me to try. That's what happens when you're a good person. The example that you're setting, it's not about so everybody can say you're a good person, you feel great about yourself, but the example that you're setting, that's how it worked for me. When I started my spiritual journey, I saw other people, because I didn't like the word witch. Most people don't. I saw other people who called themselves a witch. They called themselves a good witch or a white witch, and they were doing things, and I was saying, well, I can be open to it. I can try it, simply because they don't give me an evil vibe. And then there's some that, trust me, they are not good. They are not good people, and I would never take any advice from them, even when it was good advice. And I heard the same advice somewhere else, and I was like, oh, well, that happened to be good. I don't want any of their advice, because the things that they can convince themselves to do is just not something that I would want to align myself to. When you're taking this journey, stop worrying about the appearance of anything, because worrying about what people think is going to hold you back in every way. not just in the beliefs that you have to open up your mind to, but even the way spirit's going to take you through a journey. Some of these things are going to be embarrassing. Sometimes it's not even that it's embarrassing. Sometimes it's just that you haven't grown enough to get to the point where you're going to feel proud to tell people about God, or you're going to be like, you haven't gotten there yet. You have to, I had to let go of my appearance because so many people know me in the city. I mean, so many people know me in the city. People who I forget. When I first started my business, people were recognizing me all over. People wanted to take pictures with me. It was like very weird. It was very weird. I'm talking like years and years ago. So just understand, like, God, I think God put me in that position for a reason, for a lot of people to know me so my story can spread like wildfire. I think that adds layers of protection because everybody knows. And I'm not talking about a lot of people know me just like people in my community or my age group. I'm talking about people in corporate places, people in companies, people in businesses, people all over know me. That adds protection, trust me. So I had to let go of how people are going to view me in order to come and give my message, because people need the message. And I'm like, people are going to think I'm crazy. I was very nervous in the beginning in my first couple messages. I'm like, oh my God, like I don't like talking publicly. Now I'm okay with it. I didn't like it. It's not, I like to be in the background. I like to be in the shadows. I don't like attention. But I had to let go of all of that when I started realizing there are people here who need this so badly. And just by me feeling like I don't want to be on camera is really putting people in a bad way. Like, there's messages that, because when I got all my messages, they were saving my life. These people were practically saving my life. So sometimes the person giving the message doesn't know, not sometimes, you never know who you're giving the message to. You never know what they're going through. And you give a message and you just pick up someone's day. I know so many times based on messages I gave, the amount of spell work I got after, I'm like, oh, somebody needed that one. Somebody was facing that problem directly. That's why I said that. And sometimes I'm listening to the message again. I'm like, what am I talking about? Why am I saying that? Because that doesn't resonate with my personal situation, but it's true. God has us sitting here talking to people for a reason, because I always say someone said a prayer. That's how I feel about a lot of what I go through, is somebody must have said a prayer. Sometimes I used to in the beginning be confused because I'm like, well, the Bible didn't say that, or because I was coming from a Christian like ideology, like a lot of people, and I'm like, this is kind of far, like it didn't say this. But what, I just trusted what I was feeling. I trusted that the people that were giving the messages were just genuinely people I just enjoyed. I enjoyed their spirit. I loved their spirit. I loved their energy. And the energy I carry loves the energy that they are. And I just trusted it and I went along with it. And I remember there was a couple different times where somebody said the word witch, or somebody said a particular thing. And I was like, well, I don't resonate with that. But, if they're saying it, it can't be that bad. I'll look into it a little bit. Just try the methods that you're being given, because up until now, who's been giving any methods? Who's been giving good advice? You see some of these machines that they try to sell people who are targeted, 6,000, 3,000, 4,000. These people are criminals. People are already suffering and you're selling them a machine for 3,000, 4,000, 7,000. That's not going to stop the spell work. They're going to take your money. They're heartless. They're not going to take the money and then not do the spell work for a week at least to show you it works. No, they're going to take the money, and the same night they're going to do the spell work and laugh. They're evil. You don't need a machine. You have God. You got to walk your journey. Just try some of the methods, because I know they're telling people that I'm leading people down the dark path and I'm leading people to demonic practices and whatever. Okay, well, what are you going through? What do you call it? Godly? What do you call what you're going through? Suffering, human suffering. Of course they're going to say I'm a demon because I am blocking their work. You know how hard people have to work when you keep cleaning? It is the song that will never end. It will go on and on, my friend. They put it on today, you take it off now. They put it again, you take it off. And what happens when you take it off? It goes back. It compiles. It compiles. It compiles. You know the audacity of this woman attacking me, asking me what do I use in my hair? Because her hair is breaking at the roots. It's not breaking down here. It's breaking up here. She's going to be bald soon. Her teeth are falling out. She's gaining weight. She wants to know. They want to know what did you have for lunch? That's the way the conversation with the practitioner started. Anyway, I'm meditating, comes to my meditation. What did you have for lunch? A salad. What did you have for lunch? Because it's coming back. They want to know, why are they gaining the weight and you're not? Because you got to try the methods. You got to do what God tells you. Clean it off. It's not yours. People don't understand energy. You send something out. You send out an intention. It's not yours. You don't have to keep it. Your intentions should be pure so you can sit inside of your own energy comfortably. Because when it comes back and it's yours, you have no choice but to say, it's mine. I gotta suffer this karma. I gotta go through this. Your energy and your intentions should be something that you can deal with. So that when you have to sit down in your intentions and your energy, you don't go tell people, oh, somebody's abusing me. How come somebody's abusing you and no help is coming? Because it's your energy. You're in your energy now. That's why you gotta sit inside of it. Whatever methods that people like myself give are not going to be worse than what you're facing. When I first started in that spirit, I'm like, what is lighting a candle going to do? Oh, listen, when you first light that candle in the first couple of days, you're like, whoa. Let me give you guys one of the first things that happened for me. I Googled randomly because they were affecting my sleep, and I Googled about, like, does salt protect? And it said yes. And then I still didn't do it. And then it came up in some kind of commercial or something I was listening to, not on YouTube, somewhere. And then I said, let me try. So I put it around my bed. I said, it can't hurt. I slept that night like a baby. I said, oh, hell no. I went to Costco and I filled a whole cart with salt. They were confused. Then people started befriending my kids that hadn't spoken to my kids in years and asking, is this for demons? Is this to stop demons? Because they themselves didn't know. It's to show me that they had never dealt with a fight. They've always had open roads to destroy people. And because they've had open roads to destroy people, they've never seen salt barriers or anything. Give me a second. They've always had open roads. They've never had anyone fight back. They've never had anyone do any protection because salt is so basic. How did they not know about that? And that's what started it. Because at first I was like, what is salt gonna do? And then I opened my mind to everything because things were working. Oh, go do this, go do that. As soon as I hear a word, not from everybody, you gotta use your intuition. But as soon as I heard a word, I said, oh, let me try it then. I love protection work. I'm not huge on the offensive stuff because I don't feel like I need it. I feel like God can handle it better than I. That's the truth. When God handles people, I'm like, damn, I would have not thought about that. Because if we want to handle people, we want to do it immediately, fast. No, God says let them suffer. So drag it out. I was joking with God the other day. I said, every day I wake up, these people have a nightmare on their hands. Every day I wake up, these people are so sick of me. They've never dealt with anything like this. This is a pesky problem. It's like, one time I heard him in my head, he goes, why is this beast still alive? These people tried everything. Why is this beast still alive? Every day, and I'm irritating. I am. I do it on purpose. I tell you the truth. I'm irritating. I'm exhausting. I'm annoying. Every time I come here and I laugh, the things that I say, these people's energy is like, that's how they have to have the self-control. Like, they sense so much anger over here, so much anger is over there. They're hanging on by a thread. These people are protecting themselves now. These people are doing all kinds of things, whether it's sage, whether it's blocking the door, they're bathing in the Florida water, they're doing so much. A lot is going on. A lot is going on. These people are not happy. These people will say it's me. They don't know it's spirits. They don't know it's spirits. These people call me a witch. They've never seen anything, because these are people who don't believe in God. They would prefer to say it's you than to say God exists, because in their mind they want to hold on to this idea that God does not exist. But God is here. God is here. They know God exists. You know, they just don't want to do. One time I came on my YouTube and there was a search that said how to protect your home with demons, as if they want to come and screenshot it and show people, see, it's a demon. Really? Whatever it takes to hold on to this negative belief. But God is here. God is really and truly here. And that is the point. I love when it's not just one person that sees it, but God comes to like a group of people at a time and says, I want all of you guys to know who I am. I want you guys to know that we heard everybody. We know what's going on. And I think that people in their heart, they know better. Because one thing I can tell you this journey has taught me is those people that work together despise each other. If the people running the operation, the husband and the wife, hate each other, what do you leave for the people working? What do you leave for the people working? These people could care less if the other one didn't wake up alive the next day. I'm telling you that. I don't care. They're not pretending when they do that part. They don't like each other. They don't. Doesn't matter. They'll pretend like they did it for a little what. They don't care. They don't. These people do not care about each other. All of these people, the way they behave. And you know what? Had God not gave that message from before, I would second guess myself of if I'm making this up or whatever. I mean, I've experienced it. These people hate each other. They cannot stand each other. They need each other to get work done. They need each other for money, but this is not like loving, happy. They could care less. They could care less. These are people that don't take relationships seriously. And you know, I started seeing it when so many times these people were in relationships and one person gives another person a hug, and you could tell that the wife is standing here and the husband is hugging this one. They're sleeping together. You can see they're sleeping together. It's like everybody just does whatever they want. They don't have any loyalty. They don't have any love. They don't have like these people. How can you have a husband and he's putting money in the house and you have no compassion? You don't have, of course they can be like that to other people. Of course they can destroy other people's relationship, because in their head they're probably saying, so what? If I don't have someone who loves me like that, why should you? So they want to turn people. It's always sex. That's all they think about all day. It's always something sexual. That's all they want to put on your devices, is something to do with sex. And you can see it because it's almost like when somebody comes into your dream state, it's like this person is coming in here and they just expect that, whether or not you're attracted to them, or it's like you're just gonna, it's like, wait a minute, that's how you guys do it over there? It's shocking. So it's like, obviously the people that are a part of this are gonna think all women are like this, or all men are like this, or love doesn't exist, or whatever. But they do that for a reason, so that they can take the good expectations out of your heart. They can make you doubt when something good is going to happen for you. Doubt if you're going to have love in your life. Doubt if somebody's loyal to you. Doubt if so. Whenever they see one of their own come in and get someone who truly loves them, they will work to destroy that any way possible. They don't care. And you can tell that They don't even put any thought. Like, they send people towards me all the time. They don't put any thought into it. They just figure they're gonna send anybody. They're gonna send anyone. Rich, poor, one eye, one foot, nothing. They don't say, oh, well, this is a religious person, maybe we should, or a spiritual person, maybe we should try to send someone who's spiritual, or maybe they don't care. Because that's how they behave. So they figure, well, if I like just anything that crawls out of the ground, so should you. These people don't even care about STDs. I'm telling you the truth, they don't. They'll get pregnant with STDs. Like, it's not a healthy place. This is Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible. That's how they describe those kind of communities. Like, end of time communities. Like, if their business were to come out like it is right now, they would have to run and hide their face because they know it's wrong, but they're empowered when they could do it together. When it comes out, they're not so proud of it anymore. This is the way that these people live, and they try to make other people think that it's okay, and they groom you in this. They try to groom you little by little by little. Me, I'm a person, I have full stops. Okay, you're nice. Okay, I'm hearing you. And the minute I hear something I don't like, I do not like it. There's no convincing. There's no, oh, well, we all do it. A million of you can do it. You can make it a law. I said no. This is how you have to approach the world. When you don't feel good about it, you're not going to lower your standards. You're not going to change yourself to fit in with things that don't feel right to the spirit inside of you, or spirits inside of you. Don't change yourself. At what point did you ever think, did you grow up in a house and ever think, well, some gang stalkers raise their kids like this, right? But like, most people, the average person, you grew up in your house and think you could behave like this in public and it was okay? No. So why are you picking it up now? Because a bunch of people tell you it's okay. It's not okay. It is not okay. The way we treat people matters. One day, hopefully, I can give people all the tools that, a lot more tools that can really help them. The tools that I have to give today are basic. And basic doesn't mean ineffective. Basic is a foundation. You cannot have a house without a foundation. Once you're done your foundation, everything above that is stuff you can easily rebuild. On your foundation, your spiritual foundation, it's a foundation for a reason. Knowing your basic colors of your candles, knowing how to protect yourself and cleanse yourself, these are basic things. You shouldn't go anywhere or do anything without this basic knowledge. This will block you from all, like, I want to put a number on it, but a huge percentage of crap at the bottom that's going to come and disturb your peace spiritually. It will protect you from that. Where you start getting more sophisticated will protect you from more sophisticated attacks. More sophisticated attacks are going to come when you're a very valuable person, you know, multi-million billionaire, let's say. I'm just putting it, that's what I'm assuming, right? Or you're extremely special to God, something of that sort. But the basics, you need to cover the basics, because when you walk around the earth and you carry the spirits and the energy, they can see it whether or not you know that. If they can feel that energy, they're going to want to attack it because they want to siphon it and use it. So having your basic principles down is going to block all these baby witches and these, look at this. The people here doing all of this stuff have been beaten with basic knowledge. They're not that as strong in the spirit as you think. They've just been getting away with a lot of stuff. They're not that strong. As a matter of fact, I consider them weak. They're really not that strong. The demonic entities here, I consider like basic. I've said that before. So don't give them more power and energy than they need. They can be taken down with basic work. If they do decide to get more sophisticated at this point, they've hopefully already learned that they don't know what they're really doing, and that is extremely dangerous, because the more sophisticated work backfires. It backfires in the sophisticated way. Launch a whole bomb through your whole place. They should know now that they don't know what they're doing. It's easy, I find, for people to get into these covens and whatever. What do you mean one day? Spirit will not take you and take you in one day. Do you know how many evolutions you go through on this journey? Spirit will take you through test after test after test, because before they put you out there, you gotta be ready. You gotta be able to take a lot. So every time you pass one test, you feel it in your system. It's like a graduation, like you feel it. You feel energized, you feel lighter, you feel better. I was about to say gooder. You feel better because there are some tests you go through where Spirit just wants to know, do you listen? Can you trust yourself? Can we trust you? They know the likelihood is that they can trust you, but we are human beings who make mistakes, and they will not jump in to save you during that test. They need to see how you perform. I just came out of a test. The test that I just came out of was, will I stick to what I know about Spirit? How Spirit behaves? Can I play along when I'm confused? Like, part of me is like, this does not sound like the way Spirit works, but okay. This is not the kind of advice Spirit would give, but okay. Spirit's never been unsure or put any onus on me to figure anything out, but okay, let's go through. And that could have ended up poorly. I could have ended up binded to something, exchanging energy with some, all of that, but Spirit leaves you there for a reason. Because this is something you have to understand, is that people can do this. They can mess with your intuition. Are you going to lose your integrity? Are you going to sabotage all the work we've done to get all the way here? Are you going to betray yourself? Are you going to be disloyal? So they're not jumping in. They're going to stand by and see what you do. Are you going to have faith when it doesn't make sense and it's kind of making you panic on the inside? Like, this does not make sense. From day one, I came back panicking. Day one, I came back panicking. But it's like, sometimes you like, you know what? I'm going to hold on. And sometimes Spirit tells you something, makes you promise something before you don't even know why. You're like, wait, why are they saying that to me? And I'm a person, it's like, I may or may not take things in at the time. Like, I took it in, but did it soak in? Not necessarily. And sometimes Spirit has us take an oath and we don't even know. We're just thinking like we're just saying something for whatever reason. It means something. So sometimes you go through tests. I've been through so many of these on this journey. And let me explain to you, Spirit walks you through these tests because people might think that they're coming up with these ideas, but Spirit is creating the platform for them to do what they do. Why? Because you got to know that people can do this, that this is possible. You got to know for the next time. So the next time someone comes to you trying to pretend they're the voice of God, or the next time someone comes to you, you know, whatever other tests and struggles I've been through, I can't think of any right now, but I've been through a ton, that you can be like, oh my God, goodbye, because you've seen it before. This is what ranks you up spiritually, even though for people it's like you came out of nowhere, but no, you're ranked up very quickly because Spirit keeps you in this exaggerated initiation, this exaggerated ascension where you have to wake up, but you got to wake all the way up, because where they're taking you is going to be, it's not going to be the beginner level, that's for sure. You're going to not be falling for beginner tricks. You got to be holding on, because you're going to see a lot. You're going to see a lot of things. I can already see it. I want to just say that everything we talk about spiritually is not separate from Christianity. It's just that Christianity, the versions that we have, are very watered down. And I know that's something that sometimes concerns people. So the Bible talks about everything from altars, animal sacrifices, lighting candles, burning incense, burning fragrances, whatever it is that a witch does, they do in the Bible. I read this one thing, this one chapter, and it said, it told the prophet to write all of these evil things down, bind it up, say it out loud, read it out loud, bind it up, and then throw it in a certain place. That's how they do spell work. I want you to understand that spell work, spiritual work, religious work, it's the same thing. It is symbolic. You go to the Catholic Church and they break it and they say, this is of my body, this is of my blood. Then you'll go somewhere and you'll see someone drinking blood and you'll say, oh my God, what is that? You'll see someone sacrificing an animal, you'll say, oh my God, what is that? So you must understand what does pagan even mean? These are pagan practices. What does this even mean? What matters is who you're working with and the intention. The intention. How you're going about doing things. That is what's important. Am I doing malicious things because I've taken judgment onto my own back? Or is this something that God desires of me? Has God given me the authority to do this? This is where it comes in. Or do I just take money and hurt people because I heard one side of a story, so I make myself karma? This is where it comes in. I was watching how to do a death spell the other day, and this guy said, oh, this person told me this horrible stuff this person did to someone's wife and all this kind of. When they showed me, I was just like this, that, and the third. My intuition told me it was something sexual probably, but this is revenge. This is not somebody did something horrible to your wife. If that's the case of what I felt, that's somebody who cheated and now you're upset. You just don't want this person to exist because you might not want this person walking the earth who you feel like defiled your wife. That is different. You can't just go and do a death spell. Like, you gotta pray about stuff like that. God might be trying to talk to you and tell you you're the wrong woman, and instead you're taking the wrong message out of it. Same work can be done, but you can't be doing work like this without being sanctioned by God. And especially death work, it just, in my heart, I don't think everybody should be doing stuff like that. I feel like there's spirits that have to be in alignment with you to do that. Because look at how the energy's coming back. They were dropping people like flies in this energy, just using death spells every day, all day, all the time. Oh, you don't agree with me? Death spell. Oh, you don't like this? Death spell. Killing people all the time. Now look at them. Now look at them. They're calling somebody else a demon. Make it make sense. Are people really believing this? Let's ask ourselves. We are known bullies in the community. Do people actually believe? Or are they just saying yes, yes, yes because they're afraid of us? Do people actually believe, or in the background are people saying yes, get them? Ask yourself. Are people like, God, thank you. God, thank you. There's somebody strong enough to take it on. Or are people saying, oh, I'm so sorry. This is such an evil girl. Oh, this bad girl, she's hurting you. But they get in the car and they're laughing. They say, thank God it's happening to you. Which one? Because when I meet gang stalkers, I could tell you they've been beating down on people years and years. I would venture to say, to guess, that people don't care what color. If I'm doing magic, they don't care what color the magic is. They're like, if you can hold them occupied over there, if you can hold their attention so we can have a break over here, we would love that. They don't really care like that. These people are trying to empower themselves so they can get out of this hellhole. This is a hellhole. So they can convince themselves that people are like, oh my goodness, they can convince themselves of that. But not necessarily. I would venture to say not necessarily. Because this thing that I've experienced here is, I tell you, these people open hell on earth in people's lives. So if you have sympathy, I'm not even going to finish that sentence. There should be no sympathy. Let God do what God has to do. And we take our opinion, we put it in our back pocket for now. Don't even have one. Let God do the work, because God sees the suffering that people have been enduring in these situations. God sees that people have been kept barely alive, just alive enough to suffer another day. It is what it is. Um, I already talked about that. When you're taking your spiritual journey, let me give you comfort. You don't even know who you are spiritually. You might think that you're the one that knows the least, and truly it's the people attacking you that know nothing. I've come all this way and I can tell you they don't know what is going on. They depend on what I do to try to help themselves. They straight up ask me questions. It's pathetic. They straight up ask me questions. Can you believe that? And they're getting paid to do this work. When you start your journey, nothing has to be perfect. God doesn't even care. These things are ceremonial. As you move forward, yes, you're going to enhance and develop. But you see, in the beginning, God's just like, listen, did you show up? Are you praying? Do you have earnesty in your heart? Amazing. Let's build up this habit of doing this all the time. You didn't like this the right way. You didn't do this. They will coach you one little thing at a time. Hey, don't do this. Hey, don't do that. Hey, don't do that. I used to blow out my candles at night, or I'd have it running a couple hours, and they're like, don't do that. And then I'd do this and I'd do that, and then slowly but surely you develop. They all who are criticizing you had to develop inch by inch themselves, or they went to some coven and they gave them a whole cheat sheet on BS, and they didn't explain a whole bunch of foundational stuff that should have been learned. Karma should be one of the first lessons that you learn when you start a spiritual journey. Karma, how not to get caught in karma, because this is uncleanable. Karma will keep going no matter what you're feeling. Karma should be one of the first lessons for everybody who calls themselves a witch or a witch doctor. Karma, the first thing that you learn, so that you're very careful with your energy. You're very careful with the things that you do. You do due diligence and research and divination other than someone showing you pictures and so-called evidence. You go in the spirit. You talk to your spirit guides before you take people on as clients. That you guys don't look at new people coming into the spirit world and feel so threatened by them that you try to destabilize them and use them and turn them into something that they were never intended to be. Trust your journey and just take your journey with spirit, with your guides with you. Little by little, you will get there. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It's not a rush and it's not a competition. People are going to try to tell you wrong about everything. They're jealous of your connection with God. Do you know what builds strong people in the spirit? It's not spiritual gifts and it's not all the techniques. It's the connection. Nothing goes through without a connection. You could light that altar the best you want. You could fix the work the best you want. And your connection is not as good as a 5-year-old kid. Nothing is going through. All that kid has to do is have a desire, not even a prayer, a desire. It has to make them feel good. They just want it. Spirit comes through like that. It's the connection. Focus on the connection. Focus on the relationship. People here do not have relationships with spirit. That's why they have to turn the plate just like this and put it exactly at 12 p.m. and da-da-da-da-da and blah, blah, blah. They're nobody's baby. Spirits don't look at them and say, this is my baby, this is my child, this is my love. Spirit's just like, what's this one doing now? I don't feel like it. Because spirits have consciousness. You think spirit doesn't see you're a POS? You think spirit doesn't see you? Listen, some people can go to a shop and the shop owner sees them and they go for their wallet and they're like, and some people go to a shop and they say you have to pay first before you get anything here. I don't care if I make a tab for everybody else here. I need the money for the drinks before I put it on the table. In cash. No, you're missing 15 cents, go to the bank. Why does spirit deal with different people differently? Because they know who you are. You think you're cloaking from them? You think you're masking from them? They know how you are. You're not held in high honor. I don't care how much high level stuff you can do. You're not held in high honor. To them up there, you're a street rat. They don't care. They don't care. Bring the correct offering. Bring the correct everything. Make it like this. Make it like that. And then there's other people who barely what they have, you cannot even call that an altar. They're doing everything wrong. And Spirit says, I don't care. We just wanted you to come here. We know you're scared. We know you're nervous. We know you wouldn't really want to do this. This is not bad. Now Spirit's sending you messengers and people all over just to make you feel comfortable. They want to hold your hand like a baby. It's the connection. It's always the connection. So focus on your relationship with God. I barely ask God for too much. I ask God for things I really need, like patience and strength and patience to not freak out sometimes. But beyond that, when Spirit loves you, you do not have to go in Spirit every day. Oh, can you give me this? Can you give me that? Spirit is telling you it's coming. Hey, it's coming. We have this for you. It's coming. That's why you work with your intended spirit guides. So wherever you go, whatever it is that you would have gone and begged for, they want it for you even more. Because it's on your path. It's what you are meant to have. So please focus on your relationship with Spirit. Do not worry so much about the techniques if you're not doing it right. Talk to your spirit guides. And one thing I'm going to remind you of, if you go through any situation that tried to block the voice of God or pretend it was the voice of God and gave you a little bit of a distrust to go in the Spirit, I want you to rise up again with strength and audacity and boldness and get back in there and go and talk to God. Do not let one day, 24 hours, 12 hours pass without you getting back in the Spirit. With audacity, don't let anything come between you and God. It was a test. That was it. It was a test. It's better it comes now. You ask me, they played that card at the wrong time. If they had played that card during court, that would have destabilized the case. But now that I know, that can never happen again. They played that card at the wrong time. Don't feel embarrassed. It's a lesson. You gotta learn it. Plus, I had seen other people going through it as well. Sometimes Spirit plays with people and they fall into these traps. It is what it is. Get back into the Spirit with audacity. Get right back there, right to your altar. It's gonna feel a little awkward at first, but get back there. Keep going back there and get your strength back there. Boy, the day after, or the couple days after, these people got so mad every time I was still praying and meditating, because that was the point. The point was to break that relationship, make you question, how could God do this? How could God not show me? They blocked your eyes for a reason. Every day I find a new reason why it made sense to happen. It is what it is. Get back to your altar. Don't let anything stop you. Thank God that it happened early and it happened when it happened. Move forward with your day. Get back with Spirit. It's a journey. So many things are going to come, but your bottom is that when you build these relationships, these are lifelong relationships. There's no reason to ever not want that comfort, that happiness, that the joy that comes from Spirit, the protection, the guidance. All of that comes from having a relationship, not a relationship that says, can you do this and can you do that, but the relationship part of it. Finding just joy in God, just finding joy in just sitting there and being like, oh my God, I'm just so happy to be here right now. I feel so special that I'm here right now. Finding joy in God. When you go to God, just be authentic in every way. If you're mad, be mad. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to be upset, respectfully, of course. Ask your questions. If you want to say, why did you forget me? What did I do? Etc. Be authentic in the relationship. They will answer you, and give them time to defend themselves. It is not right in any relationship somebody doesn't have a chance to explain themselves. And you will find that it was in your favor the entire time. You're going to get used to that. That was in my favor. That worked towards my betterment. 10 out of 10 times it was done for you. You just don't see it that way. You don't perceive it that way. And give God time. It's always about giving God time. I don't I don't think I'm gonna go through all the rest of this, only because I've gone on for 2 hours? 2 hours already. I'm just gonna leave it here for now. The point of this journey is to meet God. Doesn't matter if it comes through gang stalking, doesn't matter if it comes through a child passing away, doesn't matter if it's illness, whatever it is. The purpose of every journey that strips you emotionally is to bring you closer to God. And if you are receiving any kind of message or communication that has to do with coming to God in this way through altars and spiritual work and whatever, it's because this is your path to walk. Otherwise, you would have gone through it like you've gone through everything before. But if it's working out this way, God is seeing things that you're going through, and God has messages for you. God wants to talk about your suffering. So I don't know who I put these messages for. If you came in late in the live, in the beginning of the live, I was talking about cheat codes on things like if your meditation and your prayers are being disturbed, like you're falling asleep, if your energy is low, like you're always exhausted, you're always tired, um, cleansing yourself if you're getting attacks on your skin. The only thing that I don't worry about is this gray hair thing, because I think it's just superficial. It's an aesthetic thing. I don't really care about it one way or the other, and it goes away. It doesn't stick. So when this is all done, you'll go back to like having, you'll look how God wants you to look, really. Like, it doesn't matter. That's the only thing I don't care about. Everything else, there is a remedy for it. So maybe replay the live after and skip to the part and get out a pen for the things that I'm talking about for different things. I don't normally like to give out everything because it just, sometimes as soon as I give something, I have to rework it. However, for the things I gave today, those kind of things are basic. So it's just candle covers, candle colors, and go get those candles immediately. If you're not burning, go get them immediately, like today or tomorrow, because there's no point in just letting spell work come in and out of your life. These people are throwing Mack trucks now. They're embarrassed. They're embarrassed. It's not just like it's not working, it's money, it's ego, it's a lot of things. They're mortified by this. This is costing too much. They're trying to get rid of you. So get these candles immediately and take care of yourself. Thank you for listening and have an amazing day. And remember that God loves you.